Okay, so here we are, joined by absolutely fucking nobody. This is the opening podcast for the Louthrin company. This is me, Louis Arthur Andrew Garrett, the self-designated writer and someone who likes to think they know it all, but doesn't actually know all that much. Unfortunately, Catherine Sophie Moss, the designer, artist, illustrator extraordinaire, is currently working. She won't be returning to the office / Wohnung flat for about an hour. Until then, I've got the microphone to myself, I've got a keyboard, I've got a trackpad, and I have a desire to drink an entire bottle of beer and perhaps half a bottle of Baileys, and then see what we can actually upload to the site. Now, it's been a desire for a really long time to create some podcasts, to create perhaps a vlog, because let's face it, in the modern world, we don't really want to read all that many words. I think when I was designing this website, I had this really strong desire to create a really strong blog, and for that blog to be almost the centre of the website, in much the same way that my favourite website in the world, Arseblog, is. So Arseblog, if you don't already know, is an Arsenal fan site in which a man whose name I think is Andrew, but I'm not really sure, writes 1,000, 3,000, I don't know how many words, but a lot of words every single morning, all about Arsenal, and it's either stuff that's happened in the news, or it's stuff that's happened in matches, or it's stuff that's happened in life, and he just wants to comment on it. And I think it's fantastic, and I go back to the site every single day, every morning, to read what he is writing. But in all the years that I have been doing that, his is the only blog I have ever read. Why? Because it takes a lot of time. It takes so much time. Like, people don't have the time to sit down and decide to read an entire blog for, say, a week to get to grips of what's actually going on, and then say, right, I'm going to dedicate myself to reading it every single day. But, as human beings, we now have so much dead time. We have dead time on the tram, we have dead time at home, we have dead time when we are ironing, we have dead time when we are cooking. And this dead time, if we're not filling it with reading, which we can't really do when we're driving, it's pretty dangerous, we can always fill it with audio. Audio is the best, it is the most fantastic way of getting yourself access to something which we don't necessarily have all the time. Right now, if you're listening to this, it's quite likely that you're either sat at your computer with your eyes closed, or you're staring at the screen, and you're thinking, why is this man's voice so annoying? But you're listening to it, and it's entering your mind, and that's what I really, really like. It doesn't require anything of you. You can't listen slowly, you can't listen quickly. Perhaps you can misunderstand my voice, because I understand that I mumble. I'm working on that, Mum. Thank you. But audio is fantastic, and audio is also the really big idea behind our main project and the main product that we want to release in the next couple of months. So the app is called Read Together, and the story behind it is long, it's personal, it's probably not overly interesting to anybody other than myself, but I'll try and explain it anyway. So around about this time last year, I went to Amsterdam on a work business trip. I was going for training to become a better teacher. I learned lots of things about history that I didn't really care about, and I met a lovely, rotund gentleman who offered me a job in Albania, and that was great. But the bit of that trip that I really took out of, the bit of that trip that really stayed with me was going to the Van Gogh Museum, and if you ever go to Amsterdam, you have to go. Also go to pancake houses, they're great. Avoid chorizo, it's dangerous shit. Unless, of course, you put it in your mouth rather than in your shirt, which is what I seem to do. But no, go to Amsterdam, go to the Van Gogh Museum, it's absolutely fantastic. But when I was walking around, I had this profound sense of melancholy, because you realise Van Gogh had the ability to paint a new painting every single day. And sorry, I'm just drinking a beer. He had the ability to express himself in a new painting every single day. And that painting is available for everybody to see. You can go into the gallery, you can look at the painting, and what you're looking at is the expression of a man in however long it took him to do it. And once he'd done it, he'd finished. But it wasn't hidden, which is what seems to happen with writers' works. if you're a writer and you're writing in one day, it's either a short story and you save it on your computer, or it's going into a compendium, or it's on loose bits of paper which gets stuffed into a big drawer or big folder or something with other bits of paper, and it's gone. The writer doesn't have that ability to access that tappable market. And I thought, well, what on earth can I do to change that? And so it was that about 2, 3, 4 weeks later, I was back in Düsseldorf in Germany, where I live at the moment, and have done for the last 2.5 years, and it struck me that I really wanted to get text on paper, and this was the beginning of the idea for the other product called Big Paper Gallery. So you get a short story, and rather than putting it into a compilation of other short stories or making it part of something longer or hiding it, you print it onto a piece of paper of the correct sizing. The sizing that we've been working with recently is A3, and you hang it up on your wall. And what you've got is what is, in my opinion, the writer's equivalent to Van Gogh's art. It's a creative impression or expression of your feelings and thoughts for that day. Because you can complete a short story in a day. On a piece of A3 paper, you're looking at anything between 1,300 to about 2,500 words, depending on font size, paragraphs, blah, 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 all the schematics. So that's Big Paper Gallery. That's something that we're going to be plugging over and over again over the coming months. And that's something that we would love to be really rolling out come the summer, in time for people's orders to be placed and ready for shipping come Christmas. We think that they're going to be fantastic Christmas presents, and we hope that you're going to be as passionate about it as we are. So, Big Paper Gallery then began to evolve when Catherine and I decided that we were going to go into business together, and she drew some paintings to go behind these stories, and that was something that we were also really excited about, because we realised that you can print on transparent papier, which is something that I always forget the name for in English, tracing paper. So we get some tracing paper, you roll that through a printer, you print the story on the tracing paper, and then you lay the tracing paper over a piece of either acrylic painting paper or whatever it is the designers call it. I let her buy the stuff, I just give her my card, and then we see what she does. You lay the tracing paper over the top, and what you've then got is a short story with a picture behind it. And I was really, really in love with this idea until I was cycling home from work in about December, and it was a long old cycle. It takes about an hour. It's 50 minutes if I'm feeling good. It takes a good cyclist about 40, and I'm not a good cyclist. So I was cycling along, and it occurred to me that actually I wouldn't buy my own stories, and the reason for that is because I don't have the time. I simply do not have the time. So previously, my profession was being a teacher. I was getting up every single morning at about 6:30. I was putting on my tracksuit bottoms, putting on my t-shirt, cycling to work, getting changed, working flat out until about 5 o'clock, cycling home, sitting on my sofa and thinking, shit, that was tough. I'd have some food, probably have a cup of tea or a beer or a wine or a vodka, or I don't know what. I'd watch something silly, maybe read a couple of pages of a book. Who am I kidding? I'm addicted to my smartphone. I'll read the news. Okay, I'll read the news. I'm addicted to the news. I'm addicted to everyone else's tragedy and all the bad things that can happen, which is actually the inspiration behind one of our stories. I don't want a Milky Way or even a Mars bar. Cross that, reverse it. I don't want a Mars bar or even a Milky Way. So please check out Big Paper Gallery. Look at that. That title is available on Amazon, but that wasn't the intention of this podcast. I was telling you the story of how we got to the idea for Read Together. So as I was cycling along, I realised I wouldn't want to buy my works, because however much I'm interested in art and the written word, I don't have the time to sit down and read for hours. Now, Big Paper Gallery doesn't require hours. Each story is designed to last for between 5 to 7 minutes. But there are other works that we are working on, such as Bean, which is also in the products page of our website, so please go check it out. And the longer literary works do require time. And it's time that we have to decide to take for ourselves. And in the modern world, we do not have that time. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. And there are many people who will be listening to this and scoffing and saying, "Come on, Garrett, of course there's time." And you're right. It's not that we do not have time, it's that we do not make the time. However, we all have dead time, and we can make something of that dead time. And so at that point, as I was cycling, my idea was that every single story that we write, every single piece of written creative work will all come with narration. Which is nice. That's a nice dream. Doesn't take that long, in my opinion. I read the stories over 20, 30 times. Still can't find all the mistakes. I don't know why, but there we go. Human error. But I read it over so many times anyway. It wouldn't cost me much to read it aloud one time. And actually, I was thinking that from a written perspective, that would help me find more mistakes. That would help me find more ways that I can bring more character, more emotion, more perspective into the piece. And the positive point, the positive side of all of this, is that someone might actually be able to fill their dead time and listen to the creative stuff that we are working on. And then I also made the leap to the fact that parents are the ones that really do not have time anymore. Parents in the modern world have jobs, they have this kind of unlimited list of parent duties that they need to complete, whether it's taking their children to language classes or piano lessons or guitar lessons or taking them to the ballet or football or rugby or just visiting their bloody grandparents. They need to do it all, don't they? And so at night time, the well-intentioned parent is going to want to read to their child. It's on that list of things to do. But at night time, the parent also wants to just close their eyes and relax and probably just hold their child. Let the day swim over them without having that added pressure of also thinking about the child's education, having to think about the kind of content that the child is listening to, the content that the child is reading. And so combining the three ideas, combining the idea of stories, of illustration, of narration, we had the brainwave of Read Together. So Read Together is going to be an app. Every single story is going to be narrated. Every single page of that story is going to be accompanied by an illustration, finished and perfected by our designer, Catherine Moss. And that's all going to be available on apps that are going to be working on Android and on iOS devices, otherwise known as iPads or phones, all that stuff. The techie stuff is not what I'm really good at. I've managed to make this website just about, but only because there are so many other people like me on the internet who have already asked every single question I can ever think of and thrown them into forums, and I find it on Google and then I clunk my way through. But for Read Together, we have sourced an app developer. We've actually spoken to about 6 different app developers, and 5 of them have all come from either India or Pakistan. I do not know what it is about India or Pakistan. Maybe they have the best internet. Maybe they have the cleverest people. Maybe the rest of us just aren't very good. I don't really know what it is. But we spoke to many different app developers. We found one that we're very happy with, that's very passionate. He's going to, if we stick with him, I hope he doesn't listen to this because we might not. Don't want to fill him with too much confidence. He's going to help us develop the app, and then once we get it rolling, we're going to release a series called 21 Doors, and 21 Doors is going to be exactly what the app wants to fulfill. It is a series in which children can either read with the narration at the same time to help them progress through the story, as well as giving them the advantage of hearing how someone might express all the different ideas and emotions and also the words that they're listening to. This is something that has been spoken about by many different pedagogical, literary scientists, doctors, and all the rest. The child really, really benefits from hearing how a piece of work might be expressed by an adult voice. And obviously, in an ideal world, we'd get to hear a parent. We'd get to hear a family member, a friend, read to a child, and the child can learn from that and have a connection to the family, as well as to the story, as well as learning. But we also have to remember practicality. So 21 Doors is a 21 book series following the events of the families on the street with 21 doors. Each one is magical, each one is out of this world, and yet each one is also rooted in something that all children have in common: family, friends, bullies, school, a fascination with snow, and far too much chocolate for anyone's liking. Read Together isn't going to change everyone's world, but it is going to offer people the opportunity to help someone learn to read, to become passionate about reading, to become passionate about narration, to fill that dead time, to allow people to relax and enjoy literary works in the best possible way in the world in which we currently live. I really, really hope that you decide to support us on our Kickstarter project when we release it. I hope that you download the app when it is released. It's scheduled at the moment for December 2017. I hope it comes out earlier. December's a late estimate. I hope that it brings as much joy to you as it has brought to the Louthrin company as we've gone about the idea of, well, all of the ideas, whether it's the story, whether it's the illustrations, whether it's the kind of narration that we're going to have as well. And I really hope that you've liked this self-exploration of Louthrin and the ideas that we've created enough to come back in a couple of days' time when we release our next podcast or audio file. We need help with our website. I don't know if I've mentioned this already. How do I make this available on devices? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Come back. Email me your comments. Tweet me. Instagram Catherine. Get on the Facebook site. There's very little on there at the moment. Is Facebook dead? Is it dead? Anyway. Much L. Louthrin.